Hey everybody, it's Michael here for the Fellowship of Acoustics and welcome back to another episode of New Arrivals. I want to welcome you all because I have just returned from the US where I visited together with Koen the Martin Guitar Factory, and a big shout out and a big thank you to the guys and girls over at Martin because we felt so at home there. They've showed us around the factory. We've interviewed a bunch of people and there's going to be a bunch of content about the Martin Guitar Factory and their guitar building process in the coming weeks, possibly months, because we shot a lot. That being said, back to the show, New Arrivals, because last week you all chose the Rosewood as your favorite. The Rosewood D28, which was a great guitar. I heard it online because I wasn't here in person. But this week you get to choose again. I'm gonna choose 4 guitars and you get to choose your favorite. Leave your choice in the community poll once again. Let's just get started. We're going to start off with a Martin because, well, that's where I just came from and I thought it'd be pretty cool. And in this case, it's a beautiful Martin D1245 style. Check this out. Beautiful top. That's just some dust. Beautiful rosewood back and sides. Mahogany neck. 12 string in full 45 style. You do not see those too often because a 12 string in 45 style is quite rare. But it's pretty cool to have one right here. This one is a trade-in. Let me double check. It's from 2020, so it's got a few years on the clock, but that's always pretty nice. The question is, 12 strings. Slightly wobbly, not completely in tune. I won't play it right now, but I think this is a great guitar to show you all and to start the show off with. It's gonna be up on the website pretty soon, but let's just move on to the next guitar. Pwah, this case is colossal. And there's a very good reason for that. Let me just put that over here actually. Because this is something very special. It is something that we've also seen a variant of this in the Martin Guitar Museum where we were. This is actually something that contains 18 strings. This is the John Mayer signature double neck from last year's NAMM show, the 2025. Check this out. Also beautiful rosewood back and sides, mahogany neck, spruce top, everything that you've come to know from the Martin Guitar Company. And it's got a pickup in here. Some of you may have noticed that there's a switch here. This switch actually allows you to switch between the piezos, which I think is quite ingenious because otherwise the circuit would be on for both sides the entire time. And with this switch, you're preventing that while you're playing on the 6-string end, that you might hit some 12 strings as well that get caught up in the mix. So that's what that switch is for. And there's also a volume and a tone control on this guitar. But the reason why this guitar is quite special is because Martin hasn't actually built double necks for quite a while. They made one in, I think it was 2011, it was about 15 years ago. They made a version of this guitar as a custom shop model, which was a double neck, 12 string, 6 string in 45 style. There's a nice video of that online where I think it was actually Carmen was the one who showed us around at the Martin factory. He showcased that guitar in that year, talked about it. It has been in the museum since then. And for the 2023 John Mayer tour, they actually lent him that custom shop from the Martin Guitar Museum, which has sparked the birth of this guitar. Because after that tour, people were asking, what's that guitar he's playing? I want to have a piece of that. And Martin decided to make the double neck a thing again. And so Martin Guitar revived the double neck and they made a little bit of a toned down version, no 45 style. I think that speaks to a broader audience, which was a great choice. And they came up with this beauty. It's got 18 strings. Honestly, I think we'll tune it once we take it downstairs to the demo room because I'm pretty sure that I, as well as you, are very curious to what this will sound like. This is going to be my first choice of today, the Martin Guitar GJ12 double neck. And now we're going from modern day Martin guitars into the vintage Gibson guitar land. The case is new, this is not the original, but this case holds one of Milo's favorite guitars, a 330. The beautiful Gibson ES 330 TD, thin line, double cuts. This one is actually from 1968 and check it out, I think it's in pretty good condition. Of course, it's got a few spots of use, some wear and tear. Nothing really big. Nice dark stain on the back and light as a feather, which I always love about 330s. It's got the small blocks that are inlaid over here. Sometimes they are the wider version or the dot, but in 68 they have the smaller blocks, which I think aesthetically is quite nice. Actually, this guitar is very resonant. It's electric. I don't have it plugged in right now, but I just quickly wanted to feel this guitar. The neck is on the slimmer side, which I like. This varies a lot throughout the years with Gibson, but this is the kind of neck profile that I am very accustomed to. Honestly, this is a really, really nice specimen of a guitar to be choosing, but it's the first one that I've grabbed after choosing the Martin, so let's just see what else we got in this week. Next up, this case, as you can see, is not a guitar, but it's actually a bouzouki by the fellows over at McIlroy. Nice teardrop shaped bouzouki guitar. I will not be playing this because I cannot, but I always love the details that they throw in there with the little Celtic designs that they have on the inlays, sometimes on the body as well, or the rest of the fingerboard. This one does not. I think this stripped down version is what I would like. Beautiful rosewood back sides with an Italian spruce top. And what's nice about this instrument is that if you are interested, McIlroy actually has a bunch of pictures on their social media how this specific bouzouki was built for us, because they built one specifically for the fellowship, so thank you. Very cool little instrument. There might be someone in here who could play a little bit. He's right there, he's real busy.
What's that, Ian?
That's the man, he's working real hard.
I'm trying.
We're wondering, do you know how to play one of these?
Yeah, smuggle.
He'll try. Could you try just a little bit?
Yeah.
Well,
I can do.
Erwin, I think you smuggled quite well over there. And it was slightly out of tune, as you heard, but you could also think that it was probably just a nice chorus on there. So thanks. It actually sounds quite nice.
No worries.
The McIlroy bouzouki up on the website pretty soon. The case already gave it a little bit away. This is another vintage Gibson. You're looking at a beautiful Gibson Les Paul Pro Deluxe. And if you don't believe me, believe Gibson, because it says Pro on the headstock. That must mean it's for the pros. It's a hefty fella. This one is from 1979. It's got a lot of similarities and differences between the Pro Deluxe, the Gibson Les Paul Deluxe, and a Gibson Les Paul Custom from that era. Because as you can see, it's got the beautiful wide binding along the edge and on the fretboard, which is something that you see on the Customs from that era. But what makes this one special is that it's a Pro Deluxe. You do not see them often because they were only built between 1976 and 1982. So 6 years, and this one is right in the middle. The difference between the Pro and the Les Paul Deluxe is the fact that the Les Paul Deluxe, which was introduced in '69, had mini humbuckers, just like the Firebird and other great guitars from that era. But what makes it Pro, I guess it was just a thing to discern the models from each other, is the fact that it's got P90s. So it's a Gibson Les Paul Deluxe with P90s, and in that time they called it the Pro Deluxe. It did come in several different finishes, this one being the black finish. And another thing actually that made the Pro Deluxe Pro, I'm not sure if it's Pro, it's just a difference, is the fingerboard, because the fingerboard on the normal Deluxe was rosewood and these were ebony. And I think it's beautiful. An ebony fingerboard with a black front, back, mahogany neck. This is something though that I should point out the previous owner probably stamped it in. It says second. We're not sure why that person has done this. We're very sure Gibson did not do this when it came out of the factory, but it could be that he had several models and this was his second guitar, you don't know. Beauty with a story and quite some history. And now I'm debating, because I've got two beautiful vintage Gibsons, the 330 from '68 or this one. And I'm gravitating towards this one because a 330, they're very cool, but we get them in quite often. And this one is the first Pro Deluxe I've seen since I'm here. So I'm very curious to what this would sound like. Let's check it out. I'm actually curious to what this is, because all it says is 59 Strat Heavy Relic BOK VBL MDDGRW. Whatever that may mean. So let's check out what's in here. Ooh, that is pretty cool. I mean, check that out. This is definitely a heavy relic, if you've ever seen one. From the Gibson Custom Shop. This is brand new, otherwise that would be a year date on there. Pretty cool guitar, maple neck. And what I like is the fact that this has been sanded down. They do this quite often in the custom shop. Of course, it's one thing to make it look and feel like a relic guitar, but I actually prefer it not to be this sticky nitrocellulose lacquer. So that's pretty nice. Black relic. This heavy relic custom shop is actually a Masterbuilt. So I shouldn't say custom shop, it's a Masterbuilt guitar by Dennis Galuska. He's one of the only 12 master builders that Fender employs full-time. And he started there in 1999. Of course, I had to look that up, but he makes beautiful instruments. I've seen a bunch of them online now, and this is one of them. I mean, if you love relicking, then this one's done really, really neatly. But this is just the first one that I've picked up. There's a few more over there, so let's check those out. Because right next to that, we have another Fender Masterbuilt. And this one is built by Todd Krause. I'm not sure if it's a German name. It sounds a bit German, that's why I'm pronouncing it German. And this is a beautiful three-tone Sunburst. Light relicking, which I personally prefer. Again, they have the beautiful sanded down neck with a satin finish on top. And what I always like about the Masterbuilts is that it's got the signature of the builder on the headstock. So Todd Krause is actually one of those builders. He's been around for a long time. He's been building for Jackson Charvel since, I thought it was 1981, but correct me, Todd, if you ever watched this video. And then he switched to Fender in 1991. So he's been at Fender as long as I'm old. Since 1991, he's been working in the R&D department, he's been doing woodworking, and he joined the Masterbuilt group in 1997. There's actually one more Masterbuilt in the rack over here, which I want to grab. It's not a Fender, but it is a Masterbuilt. It's this one. And as you can see by the case, there's not going to be a Strat in there because this is actually a Gretsch guitar. As you can see, this is a beautiful olive drab custom shop guitar. The Penguin. I have no idea why it's called that. Beautiful sparkly binding, as you can sometimes tell by Gretsch. And this is a Stephen Stern built guitar. And Stephen Stern is one of the master builders of the custom shop at Gretsch. Actually, he runs the custom shop. So the fact that this one is built by his hand, that makes it extra special. Now I've got a tough choice because I've got 3 master built guitars. You could say it's a battle of the master builds. So I think we've got some choosing to do. Ooh, but before we do that, I do want to point out the beautiful detailed inlay that's on here. Either way, Timon, we need your help. So we've got this olive drab, hold that. And then we've got a heavy relic by Dennis Galusco from the Fender custom shop. And over here we've got the Todd Krause 3-tone Sunburst. All 3 of these are Masterbuilt.
Yeah.
If you had to choose one.
Tough choices. But I'm a real sucker for olive drab.
Ooh, so sucker for olive drab.
Yeah.
All right. That's Timon's opinion. Let's go over to Jurgen. Jurgen, what do you prefer?
It's a difficult choice, but I'm going with the Sunburst.
Sunburst Light Relic. I cannot complain. And we've got one more.
What do we have?
We have a 3-tone Sunburst Light Relic. We have a black Heavy Relic. Both from Masterbuilt from the Fender custom shop. And we've got a Gretsch olive drab.
Sunburst.
I do have to agree. I told the guys and girls that I prefer the Light Relic. So we're going with the Light Relic 3-tone Sunburst on this beautiful Todd Krause Masterbuilt. Let's check it out. Choose 4, so I've got 1 spot left, and we've checked a bunch over there, we've checked some over here, there's just 1 row left. So let's check out what's down here, and by looks of the cases, it's actually going to be a lot of Gibson guitars, because we've got a bunch of those in, but that's fine, they make some beautiful guitars, so let's check out what they have. These 2 are pretty cool. Let's check this one out first. We've had vintage Gibsons. Those over there are all brand new, and so is this one. And this one is going to appeal to a lot of people, I think. Look at this beauty. This is something you do not see often. It's a completely white SJ200. Really cool guitar. They actually did a limited run of this guitar a few years back. I think it was like 6 to 7 years ago. Then they just stopped making them, and now it's become a standard model. So this, the SJ200, and one other model that I have right over there are going to be Gibson Classics in a completely different finish. The rest on this guitar is everything that you know from a SJ200, so the big jumbo size body with a spruce top. It's got the same sound to it than the SJ200, but this one actually comes with an Anthem built in, which I think is a really great choice. Normally they come with the VTC, which is also a nice piezo pickup, but I personally own an Anthem, and I think they sound great. But let's quickly see what this sounds like in the room. Everything that I am used to from an SJ200. It sounds and it feels quite big. The way that the back of the guitar actually resonates towards my body always makes me feel the low end. And boy, does this one have low end. But yeah, like I said, we've got one more that is in the same league as this guitar. And I think that will be a nice one to show as well. And we can choose between those two. But before I show you the guitar that's in the same league as the SJ200, I thought I'd show you a few more of the Gibsons that came in this week, because we got a beautiful 335 in a cherry red finish. This one's 60 style, so the neck shape is made from the 60 style 335s, small blocks, as was the 68 330 that we saw earlier today. And this one has a wider neck. Now, if I would say that I don't prefer this, then I would be lying to myself, because I own a 335 with a slightly wider neck. But the slimmer one that was on the 330 is actually the thing that I prefer. They're both really great in their own right, but just something to keep in your mind. Beautiful 335 60 style in cherry red. And there's one more I want to show you. The 335 that I just showed you, the 60 style, we actually got that in a few different finishes. So if that one wasn't what you prefer, then keep an eye out on the website. This one though is also a 335, but this is a 59. So based on a 59, it's a reissue, just like the other one that I showed you. This one's got a sunburst finish, and the big difference here is the inlays. So it's got the dots instead of the small blocks. It still has the binding on the side. The neck profile is slightly slimmer, so this one's more towards the 330 from 68 than the 335 that we just had. Nice back, mahogany neck. So in that sense, tone wood wise, nothing special. It's a 335, you know what you're buying. But yeah, we got a bunch of these in new, pretty cool. Just wanted to show you, but now let's move on to that other guitar that I was talking about, because that is something quite special. This is the same case that was around that SJ200, something I don't see a lot from Gibson in this style, but I think it's pretty sleek because everything is black. So the knobs, the little locks, it's an all black case, which is also something that they did with this line in particular, which is the new standard line with different finishes. And this is actually the J45. Check that out. But this is a gold top. Beautiful, beautiful finish. I know that there are a lot of gold top lovers out there, so you will be enjoying this big time. And if you've been following Gibson for quite a while, you'll know that this was also once released in the past, but they only did limited runs. So 12 year and about 5 years ago, they did a limited gold top J45 run, but of only 50 pieces made. That was a very exclusive guitar, but now I think it's a great move. They've made this finish standard. So this is a J45 standard, just like any other J45 standard in a different finish, but with a gold top. The same goes with this SJ200. We can keep them side by side, actually. I mean, pretty cool, right? Gibson, you've really knocked it out of the park with these two. It does come in different finishes. I also saw translucent blue, I think, in another one. So if you're not into gold tops, which not a lot of people are, I am, there's something out for you as well. There are a few differences. This one's got binding on the fretboard, and as you can see, that finish is also on the back And here it's just the normal mahogany that you see on the back. Either way, one other difference is the pickup. This one does have that VTZ pickup in that I mentioned earlier. Wow, yeah, this one's really got me. Honestly, I've let the other people choose the Masterbuilt one, but this choice is going to be mine. I really want to know what this sounds like through a mic because it plays like a dream and it sounds really good to my ears. So this is going to be my fourth and final choice of this week's New Arrivals episode, the Gibson J45 Goldtop. That was it for this week's New Arrivals. I hope that you all enjoyed this episode. Once again, leave your comment down below on your favorite instrument. And actually, I have some news because on the 19th of September, we will once again, for the second time, be hosting our Fellows Festival right here. The porch that we have on the front of the villa, that's going to change into a stage. And last year, we already thought it was a nice success, so we can't wait to have this edition coming along. There are actually already two names that I can announce. One is Minko, the band by Nick Krause and Dusty. They have been playing beautiful demos on the vintage Epiphones that we had in for the auction last year. And we've got the Lonesome Malones, the bluegrass band. And finally, we've got the spring sale going on with a bunch of beautiful deals, discounts on great brands. So check out our website right now. And I hope to see you all back again in the next episode. Bye bye.